very mixed bag of cars hits the track for the final for the Retro Rallycross contingent. You've got the Group B four-wheel drive cars, of which there aren't that many, sadly, here this weekend. You've also got the Super Retro Survivors and the Retro Rallycross cars all mixed together, and so that means that on the front row of the grid is Bradley Sampson with the number 65 Mitsubishi Evo 6. That's Ray Morgan going to the grid. He'll be on the inside of the second row, which is where you get the Super Retro cars starting. So the four-wheel drives are on the front row, so they can jump away with the better traction and be safe. So you've got Bradley Sampson, Derek Jobb, and 47 you'll see there is Don Flitney. Ray Morgan's escort for the second row of the grid. Alongside will be Vince Bristow, number 97, you can see him there. The third row, there's John Cross with the Lancia Stratos, Paul Pascoe's Sierra, and the escort of his dad, Steve Pascoe, the 75-year-old. Steve Cousins' Citroen on the next row of the grid there. Tony Lynch, number 14, into the retro class now. He's alongside. Then you've got Rob Buckmaster's Fiesta and Simon Hart's escort is going to round out the grid. And Ray Morgan, now why is he being put at the very back? Is that because he was late out, or has he got a problem and wishes to start at the back rather than in the body of the field? Odd, but either way, he's going to start then last of all, rather than being on the inside of the second row of the grid. So you've got number 114 right at the very back. It's going to be 5 laps for the retro final. Drivers are ready, they look to the lights, the ready to race legend is there, and now we wait for those lights to go green, which they do, and a great start by Don Flitney from the outside of the front row. But then as he gets up through the gears, Derek Jobb surges away, Tony Lynch left on the line, and Ray Morgan slow away also, perhaps understandably why he wanted to be at the back. But Tony Lynch, I fear, he's not going to get into the race at all as the leaders turn their way up through Chessons for the first time then. There you've got John Cross in the Lancia Stratos dancing around the outside, Steve Pascoe's escort in trouble in the background. But there then is the race leader, Bradley Sampson, in the elderly but quick Mitsubishi Evo 6, powering away uphill with Derek Jobb chasing after him. And then in third place as they hit the brakes and turn their way into the hairpin, it's Don Flitney in the Subaru. So the four-wheel drive cars are getting clear of the opposition at the moment. Tony Lynch is indeed out of the race. The car has barely got over the front of the grid, and the red flag is being shown because not only is the Toyota stationary, but so also there, look, is the Steve Pascoe escort, and that's in a more dangerous place over at Chessons. So that car is clearly going to have to be moved, and is that going to give Tony Lynch a chance at maybe being able to get the MR2 restarted? So let's find out then. The cars will re-grid, and we'll go again for the retro final. There is Tony Lynch. Pole position is Bradley Sampson, 65, you can see on the front. On the inside, Derek Jobb and Don Flitney round out row 1. Ray Morgan would have been on row 2, but it's Vince Bristow alone, ahead of John Cross and Paul Pascoe, with Steve Pascoe now a non-starter. Steve Cousins is on his own on the 4th row without Tony Lynch for company, and then you've got Rob Buckmaster, Simon Hart, and now Ray Morgan completing the grid. 5 laps, this is take 2 for the Retro, Super Retro, Group B, four-wheel drive Rallycross Championship final. 5 laps to go. Good start by Don Flitney, as for the first time of asking, but Derek Jobb, when he gets up through the gears, powers away. Actually, this time Brad Sampson is the one that hits the front at turn 1, so it's Sampson that leads in the Mitsubishi Evo 6 as the cars turn their way around the loose for the first time. Of course, the Retro Rallycross classes don't believe in modern things like Joker lap, so it's the normal Lydden route all the way through to the end. And as the cars now turn their way uphill, the rather standard-looking Mitsubishi in the hands of Bradley Sampson it is, who has the advantage. Derek Jobb second then, ahead of Don Flitney. Vince Bristow is the leading two-wheel drive car from John Cross, Stratos, and then Ray Morgan's already up to 3rd. So starting at the back, no real handicap to him as they come then downhill for the first time. There is Cross, there is Morgan, and Steve Cousins heading the retro category at the moment as the leaders blast their way for the first of 5 laps through paddock. That is Vince Bristow's sideways BMW that bounced its way out of the tyre stack earlier on in the day. Bradley Sampson leads then as he goes onto the loose once more. Battle on for the Super Retros, Ray Morgan round the outside of John Cross, and that's second within the Super Retro class. So Steve Cousins in the Citroen rather cheekily gets past the Lazio as well. So John Cross dropping back as Simon Hart's immaculate escort then accelerates down now towards the Devil's Elbow, brakes hard, turns into the left and then powers up the hill. That car at the rear of the pack, but it's a proper retro-style rallycross car, taking you back to 1973, the first year of the European Rallycross Championship, and how that morphed and how rallycross itself has evolved over the years. So there is Rob Buckmaster keeping the escort at bay. That Fiesta was only in Chisholm car. His son James has been out in the Swift Sports here this weekend. Sampson out front on his own. 2 laps are done. So the Mitsubishi Evo 6, that was perhaps not the most obvious of rallycross cars, but in the retro four-wheel drive section, it's a welcome addition to the grid. And Bradley Sampson powering his way uphill now, with rather more circuit race lines than what you might expect to be sideways rallycross lines here, but it's effective for him. It's working well. The black car with a green cage, black and green overalls for the man behind the wheel. There is Derek Job, an experienced campaigner is Derek, in second place in the yellow Escort. And as the cars turn their way into paddock, you'll see there the recovering Sierra just on the inside. That's Paul Pascoe that's had a rotation. Bright fights on here, look, because now third and fourth together, you've got Don Flitney being caught by Vince Bristow, and as you look at the leader, they're all closing on Derek Job. So behind this car, second, third and fourth, all getting themselves together. There they are. Don Flitney under attack from Vince Bristow. Derek Job was being caught, but I think if he missed a gear, maybe he's driven around that problem. The Subaru gets its power down and pulls clear of Bristow as you look at the leader heading up the hill now for the 4th time of asking. Bradley Sampson doing a very good job then up front. So the four-wheel drive cars as Paul Pascoe retires, and that's Steve Cousins going into the gravel. Oh dear, they're all falling apart around us now. Suddenly we're losing cars left, right and centre. The four-wheel drive cars didn't get a final yesterday. Their qualifying runs have been split across the weekend, so they haven't had as much track time as others. But Bradley Sampson here dominating up front then as he turns his way once more down towards Chestons. For the third and fourth, Flitney getting away from Bristow briefly. Derek Job hanging on to that second place then. So as the cars turn through, out of the race is Paul Pascoe, and we've also now, as I say, lost Steve Cousins with that Citroen in the gravel at the elbow. So as Bradley Sampson works this last lap of the race, a win is heading his way, that is for sure. Don Flitney still pushing on to try and close on Derek Job, and at the same time keep at bay the hard-charging Vince Bristow. But up towards the checkered flag, it's going to be Bradley Sampson who takes the race win. Through he has gone. Derek Job is for second place. Third, just Don Flitney with Vince Bristow right behind him at the end. But Vince Bristow also is the man that will win the Super Retro class from Ray Morgan, who comes home in 5th. 6th is going to be John Cross. 7th place will go the way of Rob Buckmaster. There he is. 8th will be Simon Hart. And with Steve Cousins out of the race and Tony Lynch not getting into the restart, it means that nobody finishes in the retro category. So, oh no, I'll tell you a lie, they do, because there you've got them. Sorry, Rob Buckmaster and Simon Hart, forgive me. They are the 2 survivors in retro, so yes, we do have a winner, and it's Rob Buckmaster then, who is the category winner. Yes, they are from the retro class, the regular 2 front runners being Steve Cousins and Tony Lynch, so they take up the attention. There is Steve Cousins surveying the problem, but it is Rob Buckmaster then the winner of retro. It is Vince Bristow that wins in Super Retro, and Bradley Sampson is the four-wheel drive Group B winner. So a mixed bag of cars for sure, and spectacular action as anticipated from the retro rallycross category.